An article entitled, "I Chose to Be the Dad My Son Needed, Not the One I Was Trained to Be," has a lot of men talking. The writer, Rick Cormier, speaks of his emotionally unavailable dad and how he was determined to be a different kind of father to his own son.
I can jump in right there, guys. You know, my dad was 18 with 2 kids, and my entire life he was not active in my life at all, never played ball, never was there. And so I had a lot of bitterness growing up until I realized that he was 18 with 2 kids. And so he was on Similac at the same time as we were. So he was a kid himself, you know what I mean? And so sometimes you have to learn how to let that bitterness go. But then I learned this, you know, that the things that happened to me as a child, that I would not do that to another child. Because a lot of men make a lot of excuses. Well, my dad wasn't there for me. You're still 40 years old. You use that as an excuse to not be there for your kids. Well, you know, your dad's not going to come back and take a 40-year-old to Cub Scouts. You know what I mean? So grow up and don't let the same thing happen to your kids. So you know the pain. So don't push on another generation what was pushed on you. So learn from the bad your dad did and don't transfer that to your kids. Break the cycle.
I think for me, Jamal, this hits home on so many levels because my mom and dad divorced when I was very young, 4.5 years old. And I always wanted the approval of my father. I always wanted a father figure. I looked to deacons and certain leaders. And sometimes they were there, many times other folk were not at key moments of my development. And the reason why New York City, one of our cities, is so critical to me, the last time I saw my father, he was on the corner.
It's all right, man. It's all right.
Of East 23rd and 1st Street at the Veterans Hospital. He was in a coma. And I had only seen him 4 times in my life. And I'm named after him. And I sang hymns over his bed. And even though he was struggling with heroin addiction in his marriage, he left my mom, I still loved him because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. And I said to him, I'm going to make your name good in the earth.
That's good, John.
And I did not allow the bitterness or the pain of him not being there define me. There are many nights when I wake up in the middle of the night when my wife is still asleep and I'm crying on the edge of the bed. Because the truth is, I don't really know how to be a husband or a father. I'm doing the best I can.
Right.
But I've got a son down the hall and all he knows is me. He sees me every day, which is more than I got. So this story means the world to me, that one day the mic that I have will no longer be a mic but a baton. And I get to pass off a new legacy. And so for me, if my dad was watching in those streets of New York, Dad, your name is good now. Your son made it. I hope you're proud.
Awesome. What is amazing about God is not the God of individuals. He's the God of generations.
Yes, sir.
And he always introduces himself as that. I'm the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And it is incumbent upon us to make sure the next generation is always better than us. And so I'm excited about the next generation of fathers who will be better than we are. And so I'm excited about the future of America and the future of fatherhood, even for him to have the tenacity to write that kind of letter. So I want to give a major shout out to the fathers who are doing the job, who are stepping up to the plate. So many times our fathers are not celebrated.
That's right.
Thank you. I know it ain't Father's Day.
And Jamal, I got to shout out my daughter, too. I talked about my son, but I got to shout out my baby girl, because it's hard as a father to deal with a 3-year-old girl, but I feel like I got to be in her life as well. I don't know how to do no ponytails yet.
She needs
but, but she needs me as well.
She needs you.
No, absolutely.